A Fox News alert, major breaking developments in the Paul Pelosi DUI case. Just hours before tomorrow's hearing, Primetime has received a series of significant leaks from Napa County officials that paint an entirely different picture than what we've been told happened that night. And we were right. There were a series of injuries involved, serious ones. Both cars were totaled. There were drugs involved, not just alcohol. And Paul did hand cop something that wasn't his driver's license. And just today, on the eve of the hearing, the judge has been replaced in a blatantly corrupt move. Wait until you hear about this new judge. Let's go through this step by step. Remember, they refused to hand over the mugshot and the body cam footage? Well, we know why. Court documents now show Papa Paulie P was absolutely plastered. And that, quote, his eyes appeared red and watery, he was unsteady on his feet, his speech was slurred, and he had a strong odor of alcoholic beverage emanating from his breath. But it wasn't just a little Chardonnay Paulie was sipping on that night. The report goes on to say that Pelosi was under the influence of an alcoholic beverage and a drug. And he failed several field sobriety tests, miserably. This report has shed some light onto the injuries of the victim as well. These injuries were much more severe than we were told. Originally, they said there were no injuries. And then it was, oh, no, these injuries aren't that serious. Well, the victim has reported the day after the collision, quote, pain to his upper right arm, right shoulder, and neck. It was also difficult to lift things with his right arm, and he was suffering from headaches and from fatigue, and is being treated by a physician. Remember, District Attorney Allison Haley, hey, Allie, her entire justification for charging Paulie with a misdemeanor instead of a felony is that the injuries, she said, were not serious. Now we know they are serious. Primetime sort of sarcastically speculated that Paulie P., remember, tried to bribe law enforcement with like cash or whatever after the crash, but we weren't that far off. When asked to hand over his driver's license, instead, Papa Paulie P. fumbled around and then handed them a donor card specifically for the California Highway Patrol. In other words, implying, hey guys, I'm a donor and I can be an even bigger donor if we can, work this out. Was Pelosi so drunk he thought the donor card was his driver's license, or was he trying to grease the cops? We don't know. And just so you know, this California Highway Fund accepts donations in stocks. Seriously. Which is a coincidence because Paul has a few shares he's trying to unload. The timing's actually perfect for tax purposes, of course. Now, this is the type of information we'd expect to learn in the defendant's court hearing. But you will not hear any of this tomorrow. Why? They have banned all cameras from the courtroom. And they've prohibited recordings of the live feed that goes out. But that's just where the cover-up begins. Are you ready? Because what also happened today, the night before the hearing, the presiding judge has mysteriously stepped down. And a new judge has been quickly installed. So, who's this new judge? You're not going to believe this. Her name is Monique Langhorne, and she's a registered Democrat whose previous job, are you ready? She used to work for the Napa County DA's office. Does Judge Langhorne have any experience in criminal cases? No. This would be her first. And it gets better. Guess who donated to this judge's campaign? The assistant DA who's going to be prosecuting the case tomorrow, and our friend Allie, the DA, Allison Haley. Hey, Allie. What? She's very well connected. She was appointed to a special advisory board by Gavin Newsom, too. So, I mean, this is totally deck stacking, if I've ever seen it. How can we expect a fair trial here when the judge and the prosecutors are all politically on the same side as the defendant, financially connected? There's a family connection we've told you about, too. Can you say rigged? Look, we get it. Paul's married to a California bigwig. He and Nancy are Golden State royalty. But they shouldn't get a free pass.